Hi guys, I'm back. Oh brother. I've been wanting to do more recordings for a while, but I've been really stuck because there's a lot of reasons not to do them. So I thought maybe a way to get past that would be just to do a video to talk about all the reasons not to do a video. I think I'm going to make this a podcast too, so if you hear me saying video and you're confused, I'm probably going to have video versions and audio versions out there, maybe. So, one of my hesitations in doing this is I want to give advice, but I don't want to give bad advice. I've been through a lot the past year and a half, and I've been through therapy, I've been through a couple 12-step programs, Codependence Anonymous and Al-Anon. I've read so many self-help books. I've taken classes. I kind of pick a theme for my life every year. And the year my business really took off, that was financial success was my focus. And then the year after that, it was health. Last year was love, and this year is happiness. So those love and happiness chapters, I've really invested a lot of time and resources into, and I just want to give people shortcuts. I know a lot of people don't have access to therapy, and things like that. So I do want to be careful because I'm not a mental health professional. I don't want to give mental health advice. But I do want to help people. I want to just share what's worked for me and helped me. Especially as far as it relates to creativity, but I also think that it's all connected. So whatever's going on in our life with work or with family or with any of it affects our creativity. So I think it's all tied together. So one of my hesitations is I think some things can be sort of considered global truths, and then some things are more personal truths, and I think a lot of people kind of confuse the two. And they think their personal truth is a global truth, and what worked for them is going to work for other people, and everyone else should do what worked for them. I think that's how a lot of our parents screw us up, is because our parents, a lot of them just want us to have what they needed or what helps them, and we're different people and we have different needs. So when I give advice, I think advice is someone talking to their past self. And I don't want to assume that what helped me is going to help other people. And that's just something I feel like I'm going to have to flag every time I record. And I don't know if I'm going to remember. So this is kind of just the recording to disclaimer all other recordings. I don't want people to feel like what worked for me should work for them. I think that causes a lot of problems. There's so much advice on the internet, and we try to follow it, and then when it doesn't work for us, we feel like it must be us. And I don't think that's true. So I just want people to really focus on what resonates with them and not feel like it's them if the advice doesn't work. I do think a lot of the advice is not catered to INFJs and INFPs. We are rare. We think about things a lot differently than other people. So I'm hoping that my advice is more helpful to those rarer personality types, the intuitive, introverted, empathic, highly sensitive people. But I can't say that for sure. So that's another reason I just want to say this is what worked for me. I think every person has what they need already inside of them. I think we are our own best healers. So I just really want to help people tap into their own ability to help themselves. More than just forcing what worked for me on people. Another hang up that I have about doing recordings is wanting like the perfect setup, like wanting a cool background and wanting cool headphones and a cool microphone. I think I'm a perfectionist and I want to do a good job, and I just want everything to be right and perfect, and like I want to have it all figured out before I start, and ready before I start, and perfect before I start. And I would like to have like a backlog of recordings ready to go, so I don't have to like stay on such a hard schedule. And I think the problem with that is INFJs have such big ideas, and we get those ideas in bits and pieces. And if we don't work on those ideas in bits and pieces, it becomes too big and too overwhelming. So I'm just starting where I'm at with the background that I have, with the gear that I have. I'm recording this on my smartphone. I've got my computer screen behind that with notes. And so, yeah, I'm just having this be good enough for now. My cat is shaking the computer. Sorry. He's dragging his toys around. Okay. And I want to, like, I'm very self-conscious. Like, I care about how I look on camera. I want my hair to look nice and my skin to look nice. And I tried a little bit, but that's another thing where I'm just like, it just has to be good enough. Like, whatever I can record, if I just sit here and press record, that's what I want to do. Like, I don't want to have to do hair and makeup. Then it becomes a job. I don't want to have to, like, do all this fancy editing. Then it becomes a job. I have so many other things in my life, and I want balance. Like, I want time to read and do research and learn more self-help stuff and take care of my body, and to have balance in all those other places. Like, I think we really blow projects out of proportion to have like a professional podcast. That's you have to pick, like, you have a wallet of energy and there's only a limited budget in there every day. So yeah, you can make a perfect podcast, but you're spending your budget on that, and then you have less budget for other stuff. So like, I have anxiety too, so my energy budget is limited, and I've never really allowed that to be a handicap before, and now I'm just kind of like accepting that it's a handicap and trying to cater to that. So I'm just starting where I'm at. I have so many blog post ideas. I can never get a blog post written. As self-conscious as I am about being on video, blog posts are so much harder. Like, it's so much easier for me to just kind of like spew stuff out, to just say it, than it is for me to write it. When I'm writing, I'm like, well, I want to see what other advice is out there, because maybe it will remind me of something I'm forgetting. Like, what are all the top results in Google? Am I covering all those bases? And then once it's written, edit. So I'm just skipping all that. So that's a reason to do videos. That is helpful for me. And then you can transcribe the video. That can be your blog post instead. So I'm gonna see how that goes. And yeah, the editing again, like, I don't want to be in front of a computer screen editing. I think it helps keep people's attention when there's interesting transitions and there's cuts, and I think it's like 5 or 10 seconds is supposed to be the maximum length of a clip. I hate editing video. I hate it. I don't want to be in front of a computer screen any longer than I have to be. So I'm just skipping it right now. Maybe eventually, once I'm comfortable doing this, then I'll have more energy in my budget to start editing differently, where I can get help. But again, we get those big ideas in like bits and pieces. We get our energy in bits and pieces. And we have to do things in bits and pieces, or it just becomes too big. And then the last thing is public scrutiny. Like, this is hard. It's really vulnerable to just put things out there for the entire world to scrutinize and comment on. That's hard. I think one thing that helped me was I was doing the 12-step groups, and we were on Zoom because of COVID. And those groups get really raw and really vulnerable sometimes. And like, I would be on Zoom, on camera, seeing myself just like crying with like snot running down my face. So that, I think, helped me get past a lot of my hang-ups. But like, I'm an introvert. I'm very sensitive to criticism, any type of critique whatsoever. YouTube comments can be super brutal and harsh. So it's hard. It's hard to put yourself out there. It's really hard. So I mean, what I just tell myself is, you can turn YouTube comments off. I think feedback is really valuable. Like, I want to know what you guys want to hear about. I want to be able to make videos about whatever you're struggling with. So it's important to have the comments turned on. I've been working a lot on boundaries, and just like not letting other people's stuff affect me so much. So right now I feel okay having the comments on, and I'm just telling myself I'm allowed to turn the comments off if it just gets to be too much. So those are some reasons to do a podcast and some reasons not to. But I think that covers everything. So just the act of doing this, I think, kind of makes me feel like now I have permission to go out there and start giving advice and start saying the things I want to say, with that caveat in place that this is what works for me. It might not work for everyone. I don't want people to feel like it should work for them. I'm not a mental health professional. This is just the advice I would have given my past self. And I'm doing my best. So, yeah, if there is anything you want me to talk about, please leave a comment. And I've got a whole list of other ideas too. I want to try to put out a video every week. I'm only going to have a backlog of like 2. So I don't know if I'll be able to stick to that. But we'll see what happens. And if you do know of any like companies that do editing, throw that in the comments too. Transcribing, any of that stuff. And I will see you guys next week, hopefully. Thanks.